Nejma is at the clinic with the Women's Association. Nejma, go ahead.
Everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Very good. Well, welcome everyone. Let me go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for joining today's gathering. It's a virtual walkthrough of the Jubb Elementary School for the purpose of asking Congress to stop the demolition of this school. The case is considerably concerning because a Jerusalem district court has decided that the school strongly urged the army to demolish it by May 7th. We are at the end of the 60-day period. Thankfully, the school remains standing. 90 congressional offices asked to meet with Rebuilding Alliance, and we've worked through about 42 meetings so far, virtual Zoom calls with constituents on the line wherever possible. It's that we hope will keep the school standing. I will, in just a moment, introduce you to a remarkable group of women, the Jubb Women's Association. They are the group that both brought electrification to their village and were at the core of bringing it back when the Israeli army confiscated their solar panels, but then returned them. There is hope. Diplomatic attention makes a huge difference, and our intervention, yours as constituents, yours as congressional offices, makes a huge difference in their ability to keep their school standing now. Let me first show you where the location of our school and our village, so you'll have a sense of where we are. Let me take you over to PowerPoint. The Jubb School is where we'll be ending up today. It's located not far from the medical clinic where we're starting our tour. Our asks for congressional offices: call the Israeli embassy, urge the Israeli army to withdraw demolition orders for this elementary school and the other 57 Palestinian schools at risk. Approve the village's master zoning plan. For heaven's sakes, this is a core answer to protecting their ability to keep their school standing. And then, due to a conflict of interest, grant special protection to this school, the other 57 schools at risk, and require disqualification of Minister Smotrich in this case. We, on the side of the map, well, about Rebuilding Alliance, we're dedicated to advancing equal rights for the Palestinian people through education, advocacy, and support that builds Palestinian homes, schools, jobs, justice, safety, and a promising future. Where is this? Jubb is located just south of Bethlehem, south of Jerusalem, in the West Bank. It's very close to the Herodium Historical Park, which is south of Bethlehem, and you'll see that as we approach the school in the background. On the map, that very complex map of A, B, and C area, you see Bethlehem. Our little tiny Jubb is here, just south of the Herodium Historical Park. They are not in the historical park. This is private land. Of note are the settlements nearby. Jubb, again, 2.2 acres is all we're talking about, but the settlements nearby, all in Area C, that blue area, the 62% of the West Bank, you'll notice that they have zoning that far exceeds their footprint. The master plan issue is something of concern, and being able to make sure that Jubb, which was founded in 1929, remains standing is at the core of this issue. And at this moment, please focus your attention on the school. If you have not, as a constituent, sent your message to your members of Congress, please do. And please follow up with a phone call today after you see this briefing. Thank you. And with that, let me say that I'm really honored to have this opportunity to meet with the Jubb Women's Association. My colleague, Nejma Haddad, attorney and country representative for Rebuilding Alliance, is our host there at the village. Please go ahead, Najma. Great.
Hello, hi, everyone. Thank you, Donna, for that introduction. My name is Dhib Haddad. I'm country representative for Rebuilding Alliance, and we're live here with women from the Jubb Women's Association. We want to introduce them, and they were going to talk a little bit about the association, and then we can move forward with our virtual walk. I have here with me some of the women. بتحبين تعرفين عن حالكم؟
نعمل وحش عضو في جمعية نساء جبل.
نعمل وحش, she's a member of the association.
فادية الوحش رئيس جمعية سيدة جبل.
Fadia is the head of the association.
فاطمة الوحش عمري 40 سنة ساكن في جبل.
Fatma is a member of the association. She's 40 years old, living in the association, and this is her daughter.
عفاف الوحش نائبة في جمعية.
Afaf is the vice president of the association.
عامل الوحش أنشطة في الجمعية.
And Amna is also a member of the association. Fadia would like to talk about the association. احكي لنا وانت تأسست.
تأسست الجمعية من سنة 2015. أهداف الجمعية هي توعية المرأة، توثيق انتهاكات الاحتلال، مساعدة المحتاجين في القرية، تقديم خدمات ومطالبة بحقوقهم في القرية.
So Fadia is the head of the association. She says the association was established in 2015, also to document all of the violations by settlers and settlements nearby, and also to provide rights for the women of the village. هسه قولي لنا بدك تفرجينا عن المشاريع، احكي لنا عن المشاريع.
في مشاريع قائمة بالقرية، من ضمن هاي المشاريع في مقالة
Okay, Fadia with the village. The projects were made by the members and women of the association. They agreed upon themselves to become a village that's self-sufficient and has all of their needs within the village. So one of these projects she likes to show us right now is the grocery store that's opened here. You can see it here. She also wants to show us the clinic.
ضمن هاي المشاريع كمان العيادة القائمة بالقرية تبرعت فيها مؤسسة الجي ستريت.
Also, the clinic that we're meeting in is one of the projects where the medical team comes and provides services for the women of the village, and it was donated to them by J Street. So they now want to show us another project in the village, which is the solar panels. So right here, we're walking in the village. You can see the landscape as well. And this landscape is the only landscape they're telling me that they can let their sheep graze. Other places they cannot because of the settlements surrounding. So now we're walking towards the solar panel project in the village. And this is the mosque. This is the only mosque in the village. Here are some of the homes you can see.
How many families live in Jubb?
So 160 people live here. How many families كم عدد عائلات؟ 22 families had to leave the village because of the circumstances and no supplies. They're not allowed to build, and amongst other problems that the villages face. This is the solar panel project, and Fadia is going to tell us a little bit about it.
الطاقة الشمسية من ضمن المشاريع اللي حققتها جمعية سيدة جبل في القرية.
This is one of the projects that the women of Jubb Association achieved.
مؤسسة الكوميتمي.
من
الهولنديين.
Supported it, and also the Dutch. But
It was remarkable because without it,
شو
they
المشكلة
had
اللي
no
صار عليها؟
electricity.
تم الاحتلال بدون أي حجة.
So when they installed it في 2017, when they first installed it in 2017, she's telling me that it was temporary, and that's when they had to turn the case and they submitted a petition to the court, and they were able to bring back the solar panels. Before that, the village didn't used to have electricity. قبل هيك فيش كهرباء كان.
لا ما كان في كهرباء وقدمنا التماس للمحكمة وتم استرجاع المشروع الحمد لله لأن المشروع ما بيأثر على أمن إسرائيل.
And we did a petition before the court, and we were able to get back the solar panels because it's safe and it doesn't affect the safety of Israel or settlements nearby. It's for the village. هسه احكي بدك تاخذينا وين هسه على المدرسة؟
بدنا نروح على المدرسة.
Okay, she now wants to take us to the school of Jubb. This is the school that's threatened to be demolished. Donna, if you would like to give some more information on this point while we travel to the school, and anyone that would like to see the landscape while I'm walking there can stay on my screen.
Thank you. So the challenge here is that there is a court case pending before the Israeli High Court. It's about the master plan, which was denied the village. There's 122 villages that have submitted master plans to the Israeli army. 2016 is one of it was the time when villages really worked hard on this. The army denied 6, and the rest, 3 were approved partially, and the rest are all on hold. If they have their master plan, they can request building permits. If they don't have a master plan, building permits are denied. So it's the catch-22. They really need the plan. And so when the Israeli army demolished their school on the first round for lack of a building permit, the villagers, especially the Women's Association, immediately built this school. And they filed their case before the High Court, appealing their master plan situation. But I guess the good news at that time was that the court put an injunction against demolition. The school has been able to remain standing from 2018 till now. But the strange thing is, an outside group with no standing in the village, they're called Regavim, filed a lawsuit claiming that and it was a lawsuit not against the village, it's a lawsuit against the Israeli army. It's as strange as having someone from Canada come to your congressional district, file a lawsuit against the American army, and result in the demolition of your neighborhood school nearby. That lawsuit was approved by the Jerusalem District Court. They decided in favor of the group, with the Israeli group that has no standing in the village, decided in favor of Regavim and said that the school should be demolished and it should be done soon. Neshma, you might want to explain about the rocks on the road, if you can hear
Here,
me.
you can see the road that leads to the school, and Jubb is right over there. But the parents and the students of the school thought that by putting rocks on the road that leads to the school, that they would prevent any, cars or vehicles or Israeli soldiers from demolishing the school. So that was the hope behind moving these rocks into the middle of the road. You can see further down, they tried to start moving them because it made them going to school a lot harder as well. The cars can't reach the school.
So they're walking on the way to the school. We're back to the court case. There is the other case is still pending before the High Court, but the High Court went with the lower court's decision and lifted the injunction. Why do we take it so seriously? It's because another school, the one in Masafriyata, Safai School, was demolished the day before Thanksgiving, when Congress was out of session, and it was where the injunction was lifted and the army immediately came. This one has 60 days. Some counted as all the way till Monday, so maybe we should look at it as the 8th. And our intention is, with action of Congress, to alert the Israeli embassy and press for this school to remain standing and the other 57 schools. Another one that just came up as a fast-track demolition is Ein Samia school near Ramallah. You'll be hearing more about that in the next few days. Certainly taking all of this very seriously, very thankful for constituent intervention. Please, please press your congressional office to make 2 calls. Call the State Department, but ask them to call the Israeli embassy and urge that the school remain standing. It's been our experience that with congressional intervention at the smallest level, quietly or loudly, it makes a huge difference and it will keep the school standing. And thank you for those who, if you want to.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome also to introduce yourself in the chat if you would, and questions, feel free to use the question and answer section as well. And back to you, Nejma, this gentleman is one of the landowners. The school is on private land, Palestinian owned, and this man is Palestinian American. Some of you may recognize him as a teacher from a school in Washington, D.C. He's a mathematician by background. Go ahead, Nejma.
Thank you, Donna. Yeah, I'm here with Mr. Musa Salah. He's American and Palestinian, and Donna gave a little bit of an intro to him. Would you like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the school and how you donated the land for the school? Go ahead.
Well, my name is Musa Salah. I was born and raised in this neighborhood, in this village. And as you see, our village doesn't have a school, and we kind of donated this partial land to have an educational school because other schools are far away. And so the intention was to provide the basic human rights needs, which is the needs for education for little ones. And we thought this is not going to be harmful to nobody. We are in the heart of our village. Our land is owned by our grandfather and our father and our cousins and all of that. And to see us going into anybody's area or anybody's land, we are doing a peaceful mission at which we are building an educational institution for our little ones from grade 1 through 4 in order for them to have access to education.
And Mr. Musa, you're from Zatra, right? Right nearby, the next village over. So both villages send children to this school. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, indeed. We are in the village of Beit Tamar. Now, this village of Beit Tamar is more than 2,000 years old. We have the, based on the Christian calendar, King Herodion, who's a Roman Empire. He was an Arami king from our part of the woods. And he was the one who was running the area during the birthplace of Jesus Christ. And then we have the other part of the village, which is the first mosque in Palestine, at which the second caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab, at which we have a mosque that was built and about 1428 years ago. It's the oldest mosque in addition to Al-Aqsa in Palestine, in this village. So this is not a newly village, this is a very old village. Now the village of Dhib is more than 100 years old. It's more than 30, 40, actually more than 50 years older than the state of Israel, at which we had Dar Abu Liyas and Dar Khamis, at which they were living since I was little one, crossing to my land next to them. They are living there. They have been living there for ages. I think before they established the brick and the stone buildings, which is more than 100 years old, they used to have their own farming area where they have to herd sheep and all of that. So this small town is surrounded by 4 settlements. And as you see, they've been under harassment, and this school is the only salvage.
Thank you. And thank you very much for bringing this forward. And can you mention about
Thank you,
your,
Mr. Mohammed.
you've been a teacher.
أستاذ موسى بتحكي معك دانا إذا أنت كنت أستاذ.
Yes, I am a
teacher.
mathematician back. My feeling and love is to my hometown and my little nephews and nieces and little ones in this area.
Thank you very much for joining us today. So
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
Najma, back to you. Do you want to tell us more about the school, or the Women's Association can tell us about number of children here and teachers, classrooms?
I can tell you about the school. The school is grade 1 through 4. It served a population of roughly 66 children. It's been in existence since 2017. They demolished it in 2017, and we built it on the same night by my uncle and my cousins and all of the neighborhood. They built it the same night for 5 classes, and it's been in existence since then. They have ordered us not to fix nothing, not to add nothing, and all of that. We've been in existence. The school is running every day, and we've been kids are graduated from the school, are in high school right now and going to other bigger schools in the area. So the school is in existence, and as you know, the entity that harassing the school and the area is Rafigim, which is run by Smotrich, who is now a member of the Israeli government. And when he won election on Area C, and he's a member of the government, he's one of the ministers, Ragavim that he runs put the order for demolition, and he approved the order. So it's a contradiction. It's a very major ethic
Yeah, a
issue
conflict of interest.
at which you have racist. Definitely, it's a conflict. How can he will have a lawsuit? We're not invited. We were not asked. Our kids are attending the school, and they made the decision down there. It's definitely a conflict of interest based on any human rights and any mentality. You can't be providing the order of demolition, and you approve it.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Musa.
welcome.
I have with me Fatima. She's a parent of one of the students that goes to the school. She'd like to talk a little bit about the problems المشكلات اللي بتواجهوها انتوا في القرية وفي المدرسة. She'd like to talk a little bit about the problems.
احنا قريتنا في جب ذيب محاطة ب4 مستوطنات، أمداد، ازدبار، مدكئين. طبعا المنطقة القطرية يعني كهرباء أصلية. إحنا عندنا طاقة شمسية، وعدم توفر الأمان، عدم الرعي، عدم حصولنا على الأراضي اللي موجودة للقرية هي مصادرة.
Okay, so Fatma says that some of the problems that the village in general also faces is that it's surrounded by 4 settlements that are very violent in the area, and that they don't have services, like they don't have original electricity. What they have is solar panel electricity, which is different. And also they don't feel as safe. Also some of the basic needs that a village like this that it needs in this area.
وبرضه كمان عندنا البيوت قديمة جدا وممنوع البناء، فهيك الناس بتبني بيوت فوق بعضها، والوضع بنية البيوت القديمة كثير سيئة.
And also the infrastructure of the village in general is not good because they don't give license for more building. So people build on top of other buildings, which makes it crowded and not safe as well. بتحبي Donna, would you like to speak a little bit to the student? بتحبي تعرفي عن حالك?
What do you like the best about school? Nice to meet you.
مدرسة أخذتي صف ثالث، وننهدتها المدرسة عشانها قريبة على القرية وبنروح عليها. ننهدتها المدرسة ونصير نروح على مدرسة بعيدة.
So her name is Zan. She's in the 3rd grade and she's 10 years old. And she says that if my school gets demolished, I won't be able to go to school because other schools are very far away. And what's your favorite subject? شو المادة المفضلة عندك بالمدرسة? She likes math. Her favorite subject is math. هذه بتروح المدرسة? Oh, she's going to school next year. Hopefully the school will be here. Her name is Hiba. She's in the 1st grade. She's going to go to the school next year. What's your favorite subject? I want to learn English, she says.
Wow, great, thank you.
Okay.
We're so proud to have you with us. People on the call, if you have any questions for them, please let us know. You can post in the chat. We're really honored to have you along on this virtual tour. It's just behind the school that the Herodian is located. And again, this is not on the Herodian Historical Park. It is private land, as you've met the landowner. Virginians on the call, you'll be happy to know that Mr. Musa Salah is a Virginian, and he's in Congresswoman Spanberger's district. And that might be a good reason to ask the Virginians to push forward with a letter from their members of Congress.
Donna, Mr. Musa would like to say something about the master plan in the case.
Yes, please.
Yes, we are actually donated 7 for the school, and we submitted the documents and the paperwork to the Israeli authority to get a permit to build a school, and we still, permits are near impossible to get because they want no structure and all throughout Palestine, because I don't think they are looking for peace and establishment, because our school is a peaceful mission, and if you prevent the school from being built, you are causing problems. And so we have 7 dwellings planned. I'm waiting for it from the people who submit the permit to the Israeli authority. My uncle did submit that, but he passed away due to the corona a few months back. And I'm trying to get the copies from the people who sent it, from the lawyer and other people who sent it to get the permit. And as you know, we Palestinian, as the young lady said, it's very hard for us to
And Najma, you suddenly went on mute. So he is bringing up the whole issue of the master plan question. Feel free to jump in, Najma, if you can hear me. You're on. Oh, good. Good. Keep going then.
Yeah, I want to mention that the master plan question is actually the only question still in court right now. The school has no legal standing. They weren't granted an interim injunction, unfortunately. So the school could be demolished any day now. Sometimes the men of the village come and sleep in the school just so they will prevent, any kind of demolition that may take place at night. Usually we see, and Donna, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but usually we see demolitions happening very early in the morning. So what they're doing is like sleeping, making sure they don't come at night and making sure they don't come early in the morning. These families, their children have no other way to go to school. Don't have that many vehicles. The roads are not rehabilitated. They cannot do many roads and cannot build like they're mentioning. So there's no way to get to the other schools except walking. And you can imagine how difficult it would be to walk these mountains, not only in the winter days. Right now it's really, really hot, and it gets hotter. It will be very difficult to travel for these little kids. And like Zen said, the student right here, she's only 10. It's quite scary to imagine them walking through these mountains. There might be animals, there might be settlers, there might be a multiple number of things that could be very dangerous for these children. So we hope that with your help, this school can stay standing. The last thing I'd like to mention is the name of the school. The name of the school is called Challenge School number 5. And there's 10 challenge schools in the West Bank. These schools are built near Bedouin communities that don't have any other way of reaching school or education systems unless they have a school nearby. And unfortunately, what we see in a lot of cases is that students may drop out of school because there's no schools nearby, and we don't want to see that happen in this village.
One question that came up is there a garden at the school? Is there a garden at the school? And maybe the questioner might be asking, would they like to have a garden at the school, a children's garden?
حابين تسووا مشروع حديقة مثلا للمدرسة؟
Yes.
حديقة and Thor.
It's a land, that land all the way up to the just about 50 meters away from the street, all donated for the school. Those you see the herd right there where the sheep and goats, that's part of the school. That's part of the land donated to the school.
But you're not allowed to touch it?
We are not allowed to touch it by the.
So what they're saying is that they can't have a garden or do any more additional building or projects in the area. And what Mr. Musa is telling me is that if you can see the donated for the school, but they cannot use it.
You see the big two big rocks down there?
Mhm.
About 5 meters east of that, all the way up to the end of the school. Up here, all this is for the school. We're planning to get a soccer field. We don't play football, American football, we play soccer. So it's the same size field. And we're planning to have 4 stories building. That's part of the plan, but we can't do nothing of that.
They have this little playground. I see the children playing on it in my visits. This is like the only outlet. And over here is just the front of the school. They have some the artificial grass. Naam?
The teachers come from out of town, right? Do the teachers live nearby?
المعلمات بيجين قريبات من المنطقة هاي ولا من وين مكان؟ No, بيعيش نشحانة.
Few kilometers away. There is some of them that are 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers. One from Dar Salah, which is, it's to the traffic. That's normal. We don't have no issues with that.
So they come with transportation. The women are telling me, and that some of them are from Zatara, some of them are from villages nearby, some of them may be from the city, and they come via transportation to the area, to the school.
We've noticed in other areas that the teachers are sometimes held up on the road, that the army will stop teachers and delay them for an hour or two. It sounds like this group of teachers, luckily, are able to reach the school.
Actually, you are absolutely right, Dana. Certain times and certain days, the Israeli checkpoints and road closures and all of that do affect the arrival of teachers on time. Luckily, few of our teachers, the principal and few of others, are not using the roads that have the checkpoints. Even though we just lost one of our kids in another school, and the village of 15 years old, and there is a couple of teachers are from that neighborhood, and it was hard for them to get here, closure and all of that. And so this is the deal that we go through.
We really appreciate the time that you're putting in to tell us about the school.
Thank
and everyone who's on the line, if you would, make a couple of calls to your congressional offices and urge that they make their calls in the next day or two, because so far so good. The school remains standing. After the court order, the problem doesn't go away. The demolition orders are still there, but the window closes from the court's perspective. Maybe we can get the injunction restored to keep the school standing. Cynthia's commenting, not allowed to plant the land, planting next to classrooms, a gardener and retired science teacher on the line. Great, Cynthia. There is usually a stop work order that might be possible to do something about, look at a garden project. So we'll be glad to explore that further. Certainly appreciated. And we'll have some summary of our visit that you might be able to show your members of Congress who haven't attended. I'm really glad that we have this opportunity and that so many of you have joined calls with your congressional offices. Our next step is really to press Congress to write a letter. All the shared values that they talk about with the government of Israel, well, one shared value has to be local schools. I mean, that's what everybody would like for their own town. This one's no exception. And Nishma, we promised the staff that we'd close in 45 minutes. Did you want to ask the Women's Association to make their closing statements?
Sure, yes. Fatma would like to make her closing statements to the people on the call.
أول إشي إحنا بنشكرهم كثير إنهم سمعونا. بدنا يكون لقاء وجها لوجه ونتعرف عليهم أكثر.
First, she likes to thank you for listening to them and listening to their story. And hopefully next time it would be a meeting face to face, not just on Zoom.
بنتمنى إنهم يدعموا قريتنا كمان المرأة في جيب ذيب بحاجة إن يكون لها دعم ووقوفهم جانب المدرسة أكبر إنجاز.
And we hope that you support Jubb Dhib as a village and the women of the village, and also standing and supporting the school to stop its demolition. It would be a great.
Thank you. We really go ahead.
If this school is demolished, our children will have other schools, and maybe to 6 schools, not just 1 school. Spread it on 6 schools.
أكمل والله شتتني شوية خلص شكرا لهم كثير وبنتمنى إن نشوفهم وجه لوجه.
And she just wants to mention that the school doesn't affect the safety of settlements or Israelis. It's just for the children of the village.
We have no effect on this.
We're so proud to be in your circle. Thank you very much for speaking with us and for taking us through and seeing the school.
تشكركم انكم اخذتونا على هاي الجولة وانكم اخذتونا على المدرسة. مشكورين كثير. Thank you.
يعطيك العافية خالي. وانت خالي برا.
So thank you to everyone on the line with us. We really appreciate your taking time to join this call. Again, if you are a constituent, go ahead and call your congressional offices, both your House and Senate offices, to ask them to take action today on your behalf to call the Israeli embassy and urge that the school be left standing, that there not be any demolition here. And if you're a staffer on the line, we are asking with urgency that you call on behalf of your boss, check with your boss, but then make your calls. Call the State Department. And by the way, the State Department at this embassy level is very much involved in the village. They know it well because they were involved in helping return those solar panels. And that was successful. So they are following it with care. However, it always helps for offices to call the State Department. It raises it to a higher level inside state. And we are talking about 57 other schools as well, 58 altogether. The staffers on the call, go ahead and call the Israeli embassy. They've set up a channel. They have 3 floors to respond to Congress. And they assured us that they have a channel directly to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They will pass any requests forward to the Israeli army. And so your call to them does get forwarded. It is noticed and it is noted. And that's the thing at this moment that could save the school. Really important on that. We're really thankful that you're on the line with us, everyone. Great that you're part of our circle and that we have this opportunity to work together to be able to keep the school standing and really press back against the demolition orders. There are 22,000 demolition orders pending. We've never seen even one demolition order revoked at all. So it's not like it goes away, but it does matter to keep it standing when Congress asks. It makes all the difference. Senator Feinstein wrote a series of letters to Prime Minister Netanyahu, and that keeps the village of Susia standing. We've seen intervention from Congresswoman Jackie Spear led a letter, and just now, about 3 weeks ago in the Supreme Court, the family of the Sumarine family won their case and no longer faces the eviction from their home after 32 years. So these letters make a difference. The calls make all the difference. We bring our congressional delegations there. With congressional staff, we take them to a village called Al-Aqaba, which is the first one where it was really turned around because U.S. House and Congress started making calls to keep the village standing. Thank you again, everyone. I think we'll go ahead and end our webinar at this point. And unless there's other things you'd like to add or any questions, send written instructions. Yes, we'll be glad to. We do have a calling script that Congress can use. The Jubb Dhib, they are Bedouin families. Really exciting to see the quality of their homes, and that this is a Bedouin community that's owned this land since 1929. The neighboring villages are not Bedouin, and they do have neighboring women's associations too. There might be a chance to bring everyone together a bit. You've heard that students at the school are from all neighboring villages. And thank you. Send transcripts to make it easier for callers. Yes, we'll be glad to. We'll send you a calling script. We'll send that by email following our call. And we did record today, so you will be able to pull this into a shorter version, but we're welcome to have you share the recording as well with your members of Congress, if you can. All good. Thank you again. Really great to have you on the line. Any further questions, feel free to post. I'll stay on for a little while longer. We can continue on with Nejma filming for a little bit longer. Really great to have you looking at a lot of friends, names that I've seen before, and people who've traveled with us on our congressional visits also. Much appreciated. Emailing the visit to Congress, exactly, to your congressperson would be certainly appreciated. And calling them, you can go to your local office and ask to meet with them and actually sit down and say, look, I've got to show you this. Every congressional office, House and Senate, on their website says that if you're a constituent with an urgent issue with a federal agency, they will intervene on your behalf. So technically, the federal agency is the State Department, but it's not that much of a stretch to ask them to also call the Israeli embassy and to do it on your behalf as their constituent. Is it urgent? Yes, it's urgent. the 58 schools, Cynthia, you're asking how many of the 58 schools. It's 58 schools that are at risk. They're all in Area C. I don't know how many are Bedouin. Neshma's mentioned that the Challenge School program is for Bedouin communities, and I think Neshma said there were 10 Challenge schools. Okay, good. 10 Challenge schools.
I can answer. Yeah, it's not all 58 schools are not all for Bedouin communities, but the 10 schools that I mentioned, the Challenge schools, are schools that are in Area C, and they most likely serve Bedouin communities. But from the 58, the 10 schools that we're talking about, we're not sure if all of them have demolition orders. They most likely will, but we're not sure. For instance, Sibzik School is a school in Tubas, and it doesn't have a demolition order because it's in an old Uthmani kind of building, so they cannot demolish it. But there is demolition orders, for instance, on gardens or on fences and things like that. So we'd have to do some research to get back to your question.
I know of the 58, there are also some in Jerusalem. I think there are 7 schools inside East Jerusalem that are included in that list. So those are demolition orders coming from the city of Jerusalem against the local schools. And otherwise, it's the Israeli Army Civil Administration with the local school demolition orders. Alicia writes, yes, the ask is to contact the State Department for the members of Congress to call the State Department and the Israeli embassy. That is the key. Especially, no matter whether they're Republican or Democrat, every office represents you as a constituent. So it's their ability to call forward on your behalf that really matters. And if this is only part of their responsibilities as well. Can't grow food or flowers. Pretense for demolition. So what usually happens is that the building permits are not granted. Why not? We've heard that the school applied for a permit, and it applied a number of times, but the permit's not being granted. The pretext for it is that there's no master plan, that there isn't some sort of zoning plan. When you think about it, that's what towns do. Towns issue zoning plans. They have police departments and they do zoning and planning. But here, Palestinian villages in Area C, that part of the West Bank that was zoned temporarily under Israeli control, are not being granted building permits because their master plans are not being approved. So this next step at the High Court is to press forward their appeal of the rejection of their master plan so that they'll have a plan and therefore they'll have their building permits. They can apply for permits in good faith and see them approved. That's the hope here. And it's a tough catch-22. They just don't get the chance to get their building permits. Here, it's a little bit even more frustrating. Regavim, that settler group, is claiming that the school isn't safe for the children, and the court is urging its demolition for the children's safety. But who would demolish a school for safety? If you think that it's not safe for children, you'd fix it. It would be improved. Instead, it was a report from the Army before the construction was completed that said it wouldn't do well in case of natural disasters, including floods, impossible things to imagine, or earthquake. But as you see, it's a one-level school. It's a simple construction. Where the parents have not found it to be unsafe, and the safety concern is easily remedied if that was true. It's certainly something that has a remedy. And I think one major concern in this whole thing is, why is a group with no standing in the village allowed to bring a suit in the first place? We heard on Monday, in the case of Al-Han al-Ahmar, which is another lawsuit brought by Regavim, that the this outside group has brought 150 lawsuits against Palestinian properties and in Area C. 150 cases being accepted, very concerning. You see, these are the groups that built the school, by the way. So really impressive to see the outreach from the European community to help this be standing. And there are diplomatic visits in which the European community participates, bringing forward diplomats. They came to the school last week. There'll be one for Ein Samia school tomorrow, urging the diplomatic communities from all neighboring countries, from all funding countries, from the United States as well, to participate in the diplomatic solutions to assure the safety of the schools. Do you want to go back, Nejma? It looked like Mr. Musso is going to comment once more.
Where, Donna, where do you want to go?
Good questions.
Yeah, Mr. Musso wants to comment about his permit, the permit that he has to receive to harvest his land. اتفضل أستاذ موسى، بدك تحكي عن المحامية قمر؟
Yes, actually I'm one of Qamar, lawyer Qamar clients in front of the Dhib, and she done get me 2 permits. And I was hearing you, Donna, at which they are saying that the school is not fit for kids, and they want to destroy it because of that. If it's not fit for kids, why don't you allow us to fix it? Why don't you allow us to paint it? Why don't you allow us to bring it up to code? As I said to you, the other saying in Arabic, صحيح لا تكسر ومكسر لك وتاكل كل ما تشبع. It means the whole loaf you don't break, and the broken bread you don't eat, and eat till you fill your stomach. That's their mentality. And I appreciate you mentioning the idea that they are trying to protect the kids. For God's sake, allow us to have the right environment for the kids. Give us the permit. Give us the access to do it. And instead of making this kind of excuse,
good.
Fake. They know they're trying to sell it to the Western world.
Thank
I can't
you.
hear you, Donna.
Thank you for that clarification. We have a couple questions from Mike. He asks, have the settlers or the armies caused difficulty in getting clean water for the school or village? And have there been incidents from the illegal settlements that scare the children? What happens with the settlers nearby?
Yes, they will pass by in jeeps and a group of jeeps and all of that with military. And then they will send drones with cameras lowering down on top of the kids, and the kids will be scared. You know, 1st grade to 4th grade, going a helicopter or a drone passing over their head. And then the military jeeps will be on the outpost on top of the school. And the settlers also will be harassing the neighborhood and all of that. This is this is common routine. We've been seeing it in many parts of the West Bank. And we really appreciate every one of you.
والمية.
The water, yes, they will give us hard time with the water, but we have our, how is your water down there?
You have a well. I saw a well down
We do
here.
have a well. We have a local water. We have a well that provides the kids with water, but we don't have officially.
You can't put a pump on it?
Yes, we do have water lines here.
And this well is like it was yours, privately owned well. This is a well. You see them in a lot of places in the West Bank. هذه إلكم البير.
Yes, and we do have our own pipelines from our community in the village that's been erected lately. But the settlers will give us hard time on laying down. We have it. We have this line, and that's one of the things. The infrastructure is there. Then are we allowed to use the infrastructure? I don't know. This is one of the things. This is a pipe. This is the pipe right here.
Can you guys see the water pipe? It's
Yeah, it's
kind
right
of
here,
blue.
it's
It's
right
right here.
This
You can
pipe,
see it.
this pipe, we have the infrastructure in this.
Here's a water pipe.
That's
The
a
blue
water
line.
pipe to the village or the
Yeah,
water?
that's was
هذه لجب الذيب ولا بس
that's
المدرسة؟
the school at Jubb. Yeah.
This is to the school and to the village of Jubb,
Tamar.
and it's coming from the village of Bet Tamar, so they get their water from there.
And as you know, the water will cut off on all the area every now and then. I just want to tell you one thing, Donna. This area east of Bethlehem has the largest water reserve under Tkuh and Harmala, which is in our neighborhood, in our area, at which the Israeli government takes most of the water to the West Bank settlements everywhere from here, while we are sitting on top of this water resources and reserves, and we don't get access to it.
Mhm.
Oh, the inability to put in a well. What a challenge.
Infrastructure is there. We have the road, we have the water line, we even had the electric post at which we have to have lighting on the road, but they came and they demolished, I mean, they took them off.
It's, as you can see, it's a real challenge for the little village to remain standing and to continue, but it does have clear title, and this should protect it through the court system. And hopefully our ability to pay attention will make a huge difference here. Thank you everyone for your action. Thank you everyone on site there for joining our call and making this possible today. Big thank you to Nejma, to the Building Alliance team, to Mr. Musa, and of course, a huge thank you to the Women's Association of Jubb el-Dhib. Everyone, you're welcome to visit. They do extend they extend their welcome to you, and we'll be happy to connect you for those visits. I was really impressed to hear that each of the women in the association took on a different focal point for the village's benefit. So one is selling school supplies, another has the village store that you saw, another is the village seamstress and embroiderer. So each member of the Women's Association took on a special role, and they do see themselves as the core of everything. Their husbands go off to work in the daytime to other places, and they're the heart of the village, holding everything steady on behalf of the children and the families. So thank you very much, Women's Association. We really appreciate your participation. Thank you. Please take care. Marsalama, best wishes, everyone. Thank you, Nejma. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And with
Bye.
this, let's close our call. Thank you, everyone, for being on the line with us.
And you're listening and you're watching that. And we thank you for your support and for your feeling and for your time that you are paying attention to our suffering. We know we are part of Mother Earth, and we know that you are our brothers and sisters, and we appreciate you fully, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salah. Thank you, Nejma. Take care, everyone. And I think then, Nasreen, you'll be closing the, great. Looks like we're